Hello, hello.
Hello.
There he is. There he is.
Kev. You go by Kev? Kevin.
You can call me whatever you want.
Kevin.
Hey, dipshit.
What? I take that back. I said she can call me whatever she wants.
That's fair. I haven't earned that right.
You have to call me boss.
Yeah. Yes, daddy.
Ryan's probably going to decide to keep all that.
Yep, that's probably going to be the new opening to the podcast. It's gonna
excellent.
be great. Yeah, it'll be perfect.
Wait, are we going? Are we live?
We are most
Live.
likely how Ryan will do this. Yes, we are live. We're going. And yeah, so Kevin typically wants to take a picture for social media, but he forgets. And then
He reminds me.
Yep. Cody's taking a picture too.
Cody's pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Also, where the hell did he get that camera?
I don't know.
What's my language? I oftentimes drop an F-bomb or whatever.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, totally fine. Do we want to turn her mic up a little bit?
I can project if I need to.
No,
I'm sorry.
We got the equipment. We got the equipment. Those are
I'm
headphones.
purple.
Yeah, she's the purple. Try again. Say something ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
No, that sounds better already. Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, there we go. Now I can.
See, I speak.
Now I can hear you. We got Cody over here in the background.
Hi, Cody.
Hi, Cody.
Do you need a water or anything?
Oh yeah.
I would love one.
I got
Thank you. I'll try to not to do the weird mouth sounds.
That's why the headphones are turned up. I think he was explaining this earlier. But
Yeah.
So
You don't
try.
make weird mouth sounds.
hopefully, at least to mitigate it.
I'll still make mine though.
Do you wanna start with the introduction?
Yeah, sure. Hello.
Hello.
So we have today on the podcast a guest that I'm very excited about personally, but we've got Julia Avila Shoemate. Is it Shoemate Avila? Is there a preference on how you go by it?
So my legal last name is Shoemate.
Yeah, right. You're a married woman.
Yeah.
There's that handsome man right over there.
But I fight.
Yeah.
So for podcast and for
Yeah.
public purposes.
Makes sense.
it's Julia Avila.
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 I feel like I say that pretty good.
You do. You do. There's been a couple fights where the announcers don't know how to say my name. So Avila. Avila's doing. She just threw a cross.
But we have Julia here, who is not only my coach, but also a good friend of mine. Julia is black belt in jiu-jitsu, an all-around badass, UFC fighter. She is on the Austin card coming up December 2nd. She's going to kick Miesha Tate's ass, and it's going to be super, super dope. And I'm so excited. I'm going to be there. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited as well. I really want my Lion King moment where I hold my daughter in the center of the cage after I beat Miesha Tate, and I just like present her, and the entire state of Texas applauds because she will eat that up. She's such a ham for the camera.
She's like, oh yeah, I remember. There'll be like pictures of her as a baby being Lion Kinged in the middle of a UFC ring, like octagon in an
How
arena.
badass.
Yeah, that's as cool as it gets.
She Googles it.
That is great motivation to win this fight.
For real though.
Yeah.
You are also I believe the first female we've had as a guest on the podcast, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And
Wow.
the last two guests could both pretty easily kick my ass, and I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, well, the current one could. You mean her and Jason?
Her
right?
and Jason, yes.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. We should look back through all of the podcasts, and we should do a poll for you. And I want you to write. I want you to put like whether or not you think you could beat up whoever the guest was.
Specifically for him, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm filling this out?
Yeah. You're filling it out.
I feel like we should put it on social media of like, what if everybody else thinks that I or the guest would win.
Yeah, like who would win in a fight
Yeah.
between you and Jance?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
True. I feel like that's a little bit more fair for anybody watching right now. Don't vote for me because that's not right. I would not win.
Who is our wimpiest guest we've had? No, I'm just kidding. But this has to be such a cool moment for you. First off, I'm extremely thankful the fact that you have come to our humble little podcast to come and hang out with us, especially 1 week before you fight. Just to give you a little bit of kudos, because I like to do this whenever we're kind of on the podcast, especially with people who I have a special relationship with. And I just want to kind of talk about you as a person for a second, because you have had such a positive impact on my life over the last 4 years.
Thank you.
I've known you for 4 years now, which is crazy to think that it's been 4 years. But you are somebody who I have been consistently wowed by, not just your positive, energetic energy, I'll say that. But you are also somebody who you have always found a way in my life and my experience with you to, no matter what is happening, no matter how big the stage is in front of you, you are so attentive to the people around you, no matter what. I remember, I think it was the last UFC fight that you did fight in. I know because the last one, the girl passed out on.
I did end up fighting her eventually.
Right.
It got pushed back. So I was supposed to fight her March of 2021. I ended up fighting her June of 2021.
Right.
Yeah.
It could have been, I'm trying to think back, because it could have been the one before that, because I'm trying to think back to when I was a white belt. But anyway, I had my first AGF was coming up. This was back when we were at OMA. And you had a legitimate UFC fight a week and a half, I believe, later than what the AGF was. And you took the time in the middle of your fight camp to sew on an OMA badge to the back of my gi to make sure that I was representing the team. And for you to be not just at the time, obviously you're a leader at our gym now, but you were such a leader at that gym then too, and showing by your actions of like how somebody can do this. You are a literal UFC fighter, a professional fucking fighter. And you're like, oh, let me sew the team emblem on the back of this white belt's gi who's been training for 7 months. And that has been something that has stuck with me for so long, not just in like how I feel about you, but also in how I try to carry myself around people just being introduced to the jiu-jitsu community and our gym, is if a UFC fighter can be sewing on a badge onto the pants and come out like top to a gi of a white belt, like me now as a humble purple belt, like I'm no good. I'm not too good for anyone's time.
That's wild. It was just a passing thing. Like I don't even remember that. And for you to remember it so vividly blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause it's just, I'm not better than anyone. Like I pull my weight. I'll do any job that's necessary. Actually, about the Julia Stoliarenko fight, the first time when she passed out, I was so upset and I just wanted to fight. I literally went up to Mick Maynard and I'm like, give me a bucket. I'll clean the mats in between. Like, I just want to work.
Yeah.
And I was there already.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, no, we're just going to fly you back.
See you later.
Yeah. And it's upsetting because I didn't get to perform that night, but I ended up performing otherwise. But it's just one of those things. It's just in my nature. Like I just want to be a part of something bigger than me.
Yeah. Well, and you have always been somebody, to continue to pay this compliment to you, you have always been somebody that even like, obviously I would not have batted an eyelash at like you not doing it, but it was the fact that like you had literally stood up it was like the end of class and was like, hey, by the way, for anybody competing at AGF, like if your gi doesn't have the OMA like emblem on it, let me have it and I'll make sure you've got our team name on you for the tournament. And I just remember thinking like, isn't she fighting in the UFC in like 2 weeks? Like, what in the world? And so, again, I love you, and I love you for that, because that has been, I know that was just an isolated incident, and I know it was something that was very passing for you, but it has been something that I have actively thought about many times in many ways, because for you to feel like that was just as important as everything else going on in your life was very was a special moment for me. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. And I'm never like, it's an AGF tournament, but it was, I think, your first tournament.
Yeah, it was going to be my first one. It was the one I got hurt right before, so I didn't end up getting to do it. But
I mean, that's huge. That's huge for anyone. And I'm not going to take that away from you because I've done it 1,000 times. You know what I mean? Like, your moment is still your moment to shine. And like, I fight.
Yeah.
Big whoop. You know, like
you say that. You fight on TV.
How well do
you talk to Joe Rogan?
How well do you remember your first fight?
Very well. So my very, very first fight was 6 months after I started training. I had no idea that it was a pro fight. And so
I love that.
They locked the cage and they're like, hey, by the way, this is pro. I was like, okay, what does that mean? So I ended up winning. I beat Marion Renault, who's now retired, but she was in the UFC shortly after I beat her. She got signed to the Bantam division. But it's this huge long story where that was my first MMA coach, and they go, hey, by the way, like towards the end of the night after we had won and I was hanging out, kissing babies, shaking hands. And they're like, hey, by the way, you guys got fight of the night. Make sure to pick up your check. I go, oh, I get paid for this?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And they're like, yeah, your coach already took your win money. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was no longer with that coach after that night because he ran off with $500. Like, it was nothing. I've had a string of unfortunate situations with coaches. So, but I've also had some great ones.
Sure.
So.
And I think that and I'm a firm believer in this, like I've had my own situations and things growing up. I think because potentially, I don't want to speak for you, but I think because you have had a string of bad coaches has made you such a good one.
I think so.
I think it has factored in for sure. How, and I literally can't fathom this. So how excited are you for next weekend?
Oh my gosh.
The fact that one, getting a name like Miesha Tate to come back and fight is super exciting.
It's a long time in the making. I got injured December of 2021. I knew I was going to be out for at least a year. So I was like, hey, you want to have a kid? To my husband, not just any random man.
That was to
Kevin. So I was, and I think that was a blessing in so many ways, because my knee injury and rehabbing that, coupled with being pregnant, really made me focus on my health.
Sure.
I think if it was just one or the other, I would have pushed it, and it wouldn't have been a good situation for me. So I think the two situations compounded together was great. So it's, coming into this fight, being a mom, being rehabbed with my knee, having this huge name, the former title holder. It's great. It's ideal. It's my Cinderella story.
Yeah. For real though.
Yeah.
And I remember you announcing to the gym when it happened, and we were all like, holy shit, this is so cool. Like, one of the cool things, and we'll make sure Kevin can get in here too. But one of the cool things is, because you have been out for a while, obviously with the knee, having your beautiful baby, all of these wonderful things that, have been able to come from that time. I am very excited, especially, and you've talked about this. I know Randy has brought this up a bunch too, but I'm very excited for the people at our gym who have not had a real opportunity to see the difference, is a good way to put it. The difference between I'm Julia, and I'm here for practice. And I'm Julia, and I'm going to eat your fucking soul.
So to give you a little perspective, this is my first time meeting you. For anybody that's watching, and 2, I'm not very well versed within the fighting community. I don't go to jiu-jitsu with Thomas. So it's all very foreign to me. Mm-hmm. And I have watched one of your fights when Thomas had it on, and so that was my only. That's only what I knew of you was watching you in the cage. So you coming in tonight, I was a little nervous.
She comes in dressed as a panda.
Also, hopefully we'll provide a little bit of perspective for someone again that isn't involved in the in the community. Most females don't say when they have a serious knee injury, "Oh, perfect time to have a kid." But it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. So circle back. Let's talk about the gym real quick and the people that haven't seen me. So, I remember that night. I remember when we announced it, and there was like the entire team, right? Everyone's excited. Woo. And there were like 4 people, my husband and Randy included, that were like, you guys don't know. you motherfuckers don't know. Yeah. And so for the past 12 weeks? I've had a really, really long camp. But since I signed and since I announced, I've been telling every single one of my partners, like, we shake hands. I'm like, this is not going to be enjoyable for you. Like, you're not going to want to roll with me after this. Right. And anyone that I work with, I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, but I'm getting prepared for something.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of people that are like, fuck you. Cool.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah.
We get it.
It's something a little different for sure.
It is a little different, especially since I'm generally just a happy, bubbly person. Mm-hmm. I teach a HIIT class Saturday mornings, and I was a little intense. I had my, 2000s pop punk, and I was just but I don't know. It's good. I think it's nice to have. I'm an onion. Mm. I have layers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good Shrek quote.
I am Shrek. There was. I also. I did a Full Metal Jacket quote during the HIIT class. Like, this is my block. There are many like it, but this one's mine.
Perfect. Yeah. Show me your war face. So, and obviously I think we'll have a lot of time to talk about the fight and stuff, but one of the things that I wanted to make sure and bring up is life outside of fighting and stuff for you. Like you work, you're a mom, you do all sorts of like really cool things on top of being a fighter. And so what is the balance like, especially now getting closer and closer to the actual fight? What is the balance like between, what do you tell your coworkers? You know what I mean? Like, hey, by the way, like, I've got a UFC fight coming up.
So actually a lot of them are going.
Nice.
They got tickets. They're making it a team building event. I told them I'm going to be in rare form, so please don't report me to HR. I'm not included. Yeah. Second job, right? Yeah. No, they love it. Everyone, it's always a cool topic of conversation. Like, hey, by the way, I have, an outside job. I have an OnlyFans. No, I don't. I'm kidding.
Quick, just kidding.
Just kidding.
No, I'm like, hey, I fight. It's on ESPN. I'm not pulling your leg. Like, I need this time off for this reason or that reason. And they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So anyways, no, my coworkers do like it. To give you a little, one of the hats that I wear, I got back into the oil and gas industry, and I work for Devon, so the giant ominous tower in the middle of Oklahoma. For those of you that don't know,
you can see it from everywhere.
Yeah. And I am way up there. I'm like in the 30s on the floor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's
cool,
wild. It's honestly, it's a great experience. They've been absolutely amazing. Like I said, a bunch of my coworkers are going to the fight.
That's awesome.
They got floor seats.
Ooh.
That's cool.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
And if President Trump or former President Trump is there, they're going to like rub elbows. Anyways, did you guys see him walk out with Kid Rock?
Yeah, I did see that.
How America is that? Like all there needed to be was an eagle just flying through.
I saw it posted from a professional bodybuilder. Gosh, I'm gonna blank on the name here, but like he posted like him and like giving a fist bump to Dana White or something as they're walking by, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Wild. I really hope he goes to the Texas one.
Yeah.
To my fight.
Yeah.
Grab it by the pussy.
Is that legal in the UFC?
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
They
We're not
haven't
gonna
made
go
that
there.
rule yet. But if you tune in next Saturday,
Oh, that's too.
I'm not going to be the one.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be the one.
Not going to be the one. So I guess just to ask, because obviously nobody here has lived it. What is the experience like fighting in the UFC? Like, I mean, it's obviously like not just a pinnacle of fighting, but it is like one of the pinnacles of sports in general. Like you can go anywhere in the world and people know UFC, and being able to, you did it through COVID, you've done it pre and post, and there's obviously been a lot of differences to it, but I just don't even know where to start that question of like, what is the experience like of fighting in an arena like that?
It's actually really cool, and it's really overwhelming that in my division I'm like ranked in the top of the world.
Yeah.
And
I tell people that all the time. I brag about that all the time.
There's less than 100 women signed to the UFC.
Yeah.
And just to be among that level of greatness I'm like, me?
Little me? This little panda over here?
I was just twerking on the side of the nuts over there.
Yeah.
Who fucked up? There was an oversight. No, it's really, really cool. I actually, in 2019, right before I got signed, I was actually talking to my husband about possibly stopping fighting. And, I told him I was going to a photo shoot for fighting for a local circuit that's no longer around, HDMMA. And I told him, hey, it's been a while, I'm not getting any younger. Like I wanted to start a family. Like I've always put that on hold because I was just on the cusp of getting signed. Right. Sure. So I was responsible. I'm like, all right, wrapping up. And, and even if I got injured, I was like, okay, this isn't an injury long enough to try to go for a family. So, so I always put it off, and I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, maybe we should look at a different sport. And he's like, all right, what do we got to do? I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll make a run for the Olympics. He's like, what do I got to learn? Yeah. Like, didn't even question it.
Typical
no
Cody.
question.
We love it.
That's
just
cool. That's really cool.
Ready to like always believing in me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna get emotional. No, but so a week later, I got the call from my manager, and he was like, "Hey, you're in the UFC," and I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah, right."
I was just thinking about quitting. He's like, "No.
Yeah, don't do that."
When was this?
This was 2018.
Oh, wow. Okay.
2019.
Okay.
It was like March-ish, 2019. I think it was just after like a snow melt or something. And then I had my first fight in the UFC, my first fight offer at the end of May for International Fight Week. Yeah. So, anyways, so like to be considered and to hold off on my life and put everything on hold and be so responsible just to be recognized and now hold my own, it's my second contract with the UFC, and, I'm 4 fights in. Yeah. I still have 3 more fights on my contract after this. And
I didn't realize that there's a certain amount of fights you have to fulfill on a contract. Does that vary from person to person, I guess, or?
It's typically 4 fights.
Okay.
So anyone that's in the UFC, it's not, they don't just one off you, right?
Okay.
You get a contract.
That's nice.
And they can cancel it. You can't without being fined or whatever.
Makes sense.
So there's been a couple people that'll cancel it after 3 fights or after 2 fights. So.
What is I kind of lost my train of thought after you said that. It's really interesting how they kind of do that. What was, like, I guess the first time, what was your thought process, like walking out the first time, walking to the octagon for your first UFC fight?
It was huge. It was International Fight Week. And so John Jones was headlining. And the co-main was Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm.
No biggie.
Wow. So I actually got to meet Amanda and Nina Nunes now. And they're amazing. They're so funny, so great. I shared a locker room with Claudia, I can't say her last name, G something, and John Jones. John Jones actually came in early, put Bible quotes all over the place. And he's like, hey, do you mind if I pray with your team? So John Jones held hands with him and we all prayed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's so cool.
It was a really, really cool experience. I fought Penny Kianzad, who, when I injured my finger in Invicta, she was headlining against Sarah Kaufman. So it's a really, really small community, especially when you get to this level and everybody knows everybody. Yeah. But International Fight Week, my first fight was amazing. There was a bunch of people that went from our former team. We all partied together. Yeah. We were at a bar afterwards. I was excited. One of my friends spilled his drink all over Tony Ferguson. And Tony Ferguson was such a doll. He was like, man, it's okay.
It's funny because this is something that, I think Kevin is definitely getting more of an experience with, hanging out with me and now a couple of people that we've had on the podcast and stuff. But it is, when you meet people who are very high level, especially in martial arts, specifically jiu-jitsu a lot, because that is definitely who I know the most of. But it is like, and I imagine in a lot of cases it is with the UFC. And what I've heard from not just you, but different coaches that you've brought along from our team, like, Randy or whoever, just talking about bumping into somebody and is that everybody, and I'm sure there's outliers or whatever, but everybody that I've come across or like heard about is like everybody's super cool. Like everyone's so chill, everyone's so laid back, and obviously there's people who are not, but like the more black belts I meet in, especially in jiu-jitsu, the more I'm like, gosh, you guys are a lot of like really chill, like laid back people. And I'm sure that has to do with like, we definitely have ways to get out our aggression and things like that make us feel better.
You said that a lot when you were first getting into jiu-jitsu, you told me that multiple times.
Yeah. It's like everybody that I meet that's done something like this for a long time, it's like a super laid back, like super friendly person. And yeah, so it's cool to hear, the John Jones or Tony Ferguson or whatever, like that they're all nice
Everybody
guys.
else at that level too also has that mindset.
Right.
I have met one person who is kind of just full of himself. And it was that fight week, actually. I was in the elevator and I'm like, hey, how are you? We were going to the same floor and I'm like dying and skeletal. And he was like, like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm on the fight card. Do you not know who I am? No, I don't know who you are. You're like a giant. Why would I care who you are?
Yeah.
Ben Askren.
Calling him out.
Yeah, why not?
That's when he got knocked out by Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, he took the knee to the dome. Quick.
Karma.
6 seconds?
Yeah. Now he's got beat up by a YouTuber.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jake Paul.
Oh, that's
one of the Paul brothers.
Yeah. Dang, that's too bad. Well, where's he at?
But yeah, I mean, I wish him all the best. It was just a weird situation.
Sure.
And I'm sure he just thought I was a fan or something.
Yeah.
So I get it. And everyone's
funny.
irritable.
Yeah, it's like, bitch, I am too. Like, yeah, I know. I'm trying to talk to you about it.
Do you not know who I am?
That was funny. That just reminded me of I saw something the other day. They were like, it was Aaron Rodgers, and it was like, it was a preseason game or something like that, like right before he got hurt, and some defensive lineman like came up and like almost hit him, but like Aaron Rodgers was able to get the ball away, and like the defensive lineman started talking like crap to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is like, I don't know who the hell you are, and then the guy goes, I don't know who you are. And Aaron Rodgers goes, bullshit, you don't know who I am. And it's like, damn, that is like, that's not a good comeback in that situation, man. No. You can't say you don't know who Aaron Rodgers is.
I don't remember the situation, but I remember getting really heated at someone, and I yelled at them to Google me.
Man.
Honestly,
nice to have that in your back pocket.
It could have been a dream where I would just got really, really upset. And like, you know how you have those dreams?
Yeah.
Google me.
Yeah. You were yelling at Cody.
Probably.
So what did getting signed in the first place, what did that road kind of look like?
I beat the right people.
Okay.
I've been beating the right people, but that's where I had kind of lost hope, because I was beating the right people and I was constantly being overlooked. I beat Marion Renault. She got signed. I beat Nico Montano in her prime. She got signed and ended up becoming the first flyweight champion. So I was beating all these people. Yeah. They were getting signed and I was getting overlooked. Yeah.
Do they just pick people that they are like, is there a different organization that they look at within these fights that? Because I'm unfamiliar completely.
Invicta is a huge feeder.
Okay.
So I think fighting with the right circuits and then going to Invicta was a huge step for me. It got a lot of eyes on me.
Did you have to qualify for Invicta in the first place?
No.
Or you can just kind of, okay.
It's just my manager speaking to the right people.
Okay.
And I actually met my manager prior to moving to Oklahoma. So it just so happened, and he was like, "Hey, I can represent you." Okay. I'm like, "Cool. Who else do you represent?" And he's like, "Just you." Okay.
Getting all the attention.
Yeah. But that was then, and now he's representing a couple more people. So just honestly, I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
But I'm just along for the ride.
That's right.
Just gotta fight the right people, beat the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Where were you at before Oklahoma?
California, Bakersfield, California.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And what brought you here?
My husband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We had
cute, handsome guy back there.
That's right.
We had been dating for like 6 months, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to move to Oklahoma." I'm like, "Cool, so am I."
Yeah, I'm coming.
So, yep.
My wife did the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, I'm moving to Oklahoma." She's like, "Can I come?"
Yeah, bring the dogs. Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great move for me. I think mentally, I got out of a really like toxic environment, and it's been so much better.
What is, because I'm sure this is something that, and this came to me before, but even just thinking about it in general, is how difficult it has to be for a professional athlete, a female professional athlete, to be able to have a kid, be able to be pregnant, like all of these things. Like your body goes through so much being pregnant and having a baby and, like nursing a baby. And there's so many factors to it. What has the journey been like for you coming back, going from being pregnant to now getting ready for a fight?
The metamorphosis is crazy. And I'm sure Kevin has seen it firsthand with his wife. He just had a baby. I'm sure
1 month
the
ago
listeners,
today. Yeah.
the listeners all know, but like I just
we got to remind
out.
them.
Yeah.
Beautiful little Riley. I haven't seen a photo, but I'm sure.
I got plenty. I'll show you after.
But the metamorphosis that a woman's body goes through is absolutely insane. I will be weighing in at 135 pounds. A year ago, right around this time, I was 225.
Wow.
not because I didn't work out.
Sure.
I worked out every day. You saw.
Yeah.
I worked out the day that I delivered. I was lifting weights and everything. It's just my body retained everything. And I was huge.
Well, and that is like, and I don't know a damn thing about any of this, but it's like, even just talking to Alyssa and Alyssa being like, I've been like her saying from like her, like speaking for her, but she was like, she felt very blessed of just like, she just kind of looked like she had a basketball in her shirt. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like and it's like, it is, I feel like and again, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody out there, but it's like, sometimes it just seems like a roll of the dice. It's like, it's no decision of anybody besides, like it's just what happens.
No, a good comparison. Sorry to interrupt you.
Please.
We've got a friend that also had a baby about a month before we did. So pregnant about the same time. And she was working out and dieting through her whole pregnancy, like eating perfectly, working out consistently, and ended up gaining a little bit more weight. And Alyssa, again, looked like she just had a basketball under her shirt, and everybody's like, oh, you must be, continuing to work out and diet. And she's like, I quit working out months ago and I've been at home eating microwave chicken nuggets.
So we all eat chicken nuggets. Universal. Yeah. It's just a roll of the dice, like you said. Yeah. And my body just so happened to inflate. And it kept it on all the way. So my goal was to nurse for a year. I was shy 10 days. But as soon as I stopped nursing, I melted. Yeah. Like literally melted. Yeah. You could see it at the gym too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right around October, I was still like 180, maybe 170 pounds. And then I stopped nursing and boom, I'm floating around, like atom weight right now. I think my daughter's bigger than me.
Right. I did gain more weight than Alyssa in her pregnancy. Like 100% truth.
Yeah. How many of them chicken nuggets did you eat?
I ate the leftovers.
Nugget here or there.
That's how I know you're lying, because there's never leftovers. But yeah, what we go through as women in our bodies, our bellies, everything is just like our brain matter changes permanently.
Yeah.
I fucking cry all the time. It's the worst.
Yeah.
It's great though. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No,
I think mom strength is a real thing. So I got that.
That's right. We got a new tool in the bag. That mom strength.
This is the first fight since the pregnancy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
Unless you count like jujitsu. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, a lot of women, they're like, oh, this parasite. I was the parasite because I was using her stem cells to fix my knee.
See? Sucker. Look at that.
Okay. So that's why you got pregnant. That makes sense. I really got to heal this knee.
Symbiotic, right? Yeah. Symbiotic relationship.
That's hilarious. But what an incredible thing, though. We talk about that and coming back and just the fitness, because again, like you look amazing, like you look ready to fight, and that's super cool, and it really is an incredible thing that just like the female human body does, and it's cool to see you, like you said, it just kind of melts off, and it was, you've been working your ass off, and it's
literally, it's gone, I'm skeletal.
But yeah, I mean, what a crazy thing, kind of also putting into a new frame as well is, how long has Outsiders been open now?
So Outsiders is our gym. It's been open 3 years, and I think we've been in our new space for 2 years.
That's crazy.
Maybe.
So now you have the hat of, gym owner as well, thrown into this. And so now it's like you have a business to run as well. What is and I know there's multiple partners, but what is the owning a business, especially a gym? What is that like on a day-to-day, or
thrown in the mix with everything else that
right.
you have?
What is that like?
So luckily there are several owners, several coaches. So we rely on one another. And we wanted it specifically that way,
Right.
Just so that there's not one overarching person. There's not one entity, right? We don't glorify one coach over another. Like, this is a panel of people. And I think that's what's really detrimental to martial arts, not business ownership, but just martial arts, is that there's always the one person that's the end all be all. Like, what they say goes.
I think that can be detrimental to business in general. Personally, I think we're big believers of that. In like I know that Kevin, as the owner of Triad and Define, it's still like I very much feel a part of a panel of like decision making, and like, well, obviously like your say goes in the end, but it is kind of like, I ask you for advice, you ask me for advice, you ask other people for, like, it's a much more of a team effort.
I talked about this before, but I feel like I've gotten into a position where we've got so many really good minds on staff and on the team now that I don't make a whole lot of decisions myself, because I get overwhelmed with so many to make that I am now just making decisions on who is going to make the decisions of like, when something comes my way, who is best or most capable to handle this decision, and I pass it to them.
You're just calling in the pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm doing. So
absolutely. And I think that that's how most things in life should be run. And so being a business owner hasn't been too terribly difficult. Yeah. It might get a little hairy trying to make decisions for the team.
Yeah.
Or trying to get everyone on the same page, trying to get everyone in the same room. So God bless freaking group chat.
Right.
But there are better people than me to make decisions on certain things.
Yes.
Yep. And likewise, I like to have that respect from my peers, and they consult me.
Sure.
So it's been our gym. I mean, it's not without its ups and downs, and it's not without its like heated discussions, but we get along. And I honestly could not have gone into business with a better group of men. Like, I love each and every one of them, and they've all been amazing in their presence and absence.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
One of the, and super cool, is, because I've been, outsiders just shy of 3 years, is just seeing the growth that we've had in that time. Like going from the first spot that we were in and moving a couple doors down into the bigger one, and then expanding the mat space on top of that. And now even building up the gym more and more. And it's like, every day I see somebody new in there. And so it's been a really cool thing to just watch the success of obviously the gym I trained at on a regular basis. My home gym, like, continue to grow and continue to add new people. Seems like there's always a new crop, like, kind of coming through. And jiu-jitsu is one of those finicky things that I feel like you have people that will do it for a while, and then it's okay, and then you got lifers, and it's kind of like almost not any in between.
Right. Yeah. It's you always get the new people. Like, so our coaches, our panel, our business group, we talk about all of the students, and we have communication on like who's where on, the spectrum of being promoted and stuff like that. So whenever there's new people, it's like, hey, did you get the feel for the new guy, this and that? And some of them are like, oh, that one's a lifer. Or this one's probably just going to do the trial. I'm like, yeah, all right. I mean, it comes and goes, and some people actually shock you.
Yeah, they definitely do.
But you're right. It does come and go. But I think we've created a really, really good community that kind of just like swallows you whole. We take your soul. And so what's really cool about our gym specifically is this, it's kind of run like a nonprofit. So all of the fees and everything that the students pay for, the athletes, it goes directly back into the gym. Like, I don't get paid at all.
Yeah.
That's why I have an outside job. Right. This is a passion project. And I actually did that. So let me tell you a little bit about fighting in the UFC. She's getting tired. So 2020, like everyone, not like everyone, but like a lot of people, I got laid off, right? I survived 7 rounds of layoffs from my previous employer. And finally, it was 2020. My card got pulled. I got laid off. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to be a professional athlete. That's what I'm going to do. But now I have the weight of, if I don't win, I only get half my paycheck. If I don't fight every 3 months, I can't live the life that I'm living. So now I have the weight of that. And when your passion becomes your way of putting food on the table, there's just a lot more added stress. So when I got injured, I was like, all right, well, I got to get a job. So I got a job. And I remember I had surgery. And then a week later, or I think less than that, I was working. And I was working for the state. But anyways, that's the way to say, like, now I just punch people in the face for fun. Like, any money that I get from the UFC is fuck you money, right? Like, I just get to kind of dick off. Well, I have to pay people, but still, like, and, savings for my daughter now. Sure.
But it's not like this is make or break, live and die by this.
I don't have to fight nervous. I can go in there. I'm like a college football play. You know what I mean? Hail Marys, everything's a Hail Mary. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going to be reckless because this is just something that I love to do. Right? I don't have to worry about putting food on the table.
Right.
If you make half the paycheck, it's fine. You're just kind of doing it for fun, like, even though you are a professional. Yeah. I'm sure that probably takes the nerves away a decent amount.
Yeah.
So you really saw it in my first real loss. I call it my real loss because my finger injury isn't a real loss. Like, I got injured. But against Sarge Eubanks, I fought injured because I felt I had to fight because it's the only way I'm making money. So I show up, I make weight, I get half my paycheck. And then she beat me up. She had a really good game plan and I did not have an answer for it. And my corners didn't have an answer for it. And I lost half my paycheck and I got my first real loss in the UFC. Or I got my first real loss on my fight record. But I fought so hesitant and I was just terrified. And it weighed so heavy on me. But yeah, so now I just fight.
Well, that's kind of,
that's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
To kind of draw a parallel, I think, to kind of some experiences that we've had in the past. It's like, back in, when it was just like you, Chad, and Vincent, and then Chad and Vincent transitioning out, it became very much of the I don't know, like the scared money don't make none, kind of like mentality of like, we've got to get out there and do it. Like, kind of like you were saying, like, to a point though, and I think you'd probably agree, is like, fuck it, let's be reckless. Like, let's kind of like, let's do some stuff because like, we're not
make or break it now.
Right. We're not sitting here hesitant to throw a punch because I might lose. It's like, we were fighting to win.
We didn't have anything to lose. The only thing we had to lose was the business itself. And it's just like, if we sit here and peter around with it and just hope it magically makes it one day, it's like we're just going to be barely scraping by forever. But if we really make some big moves and take some big risks now,
we're that Hail Mary.
Yeah, we're gonna do really well, or we're gonna fail miserably.
Do your Miesha Tate fight.
Absolutely,
exactly.
But yeah, it was very much that mentality of back in those days we didn't have anything to lose, but now with the employees that we have that do count on a paycheck, and now me and my wife, we both work at the company full time, and we've got a daughter now. It's like there's a little extra motivation. Like, we've definitely gotten more stable over the last 8 years, which is nice. But there is a little bit of extra added motivation there. So.
Your Lion King moment.
Yes. That is also my motivation.
Well, and it's like, I think one of the things that we've always kind of kept though is like you can't go into it like scared and nervous. You know what I mean? You can't go into it like, and not saying this was you, but like, you can't go in there fighting not to lose. Like, we got to go in there fighting to win. And it's like, and I think that is a mentality that we've kept from those times where now it's obviously a little bit different for us. We're not fighting for we're not fighting for survival on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where it's still like, you know what? Like, fuck it. Let's do this at Sample Triad.
Risk it.
Let's do something cool. Let's do this. Let's do something out of the ordinary. Let's do another defined product.
We're still so far away from where we want to get long term that it's like let's keep pushing forward. Like let's not get comfortable where we're at. Let's keep pushing the envelope, taking risks. We'll figure it out. We've had our back in the corner a number of times.
Way worse situations than this.
Yeah, the decisions we make now, we could very easily get out of if they ended up going south. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it's funny, but yeah, I feel like you kind of have the freedom to be that now. Knowing that this is, like you said, this is something you do for fun.
Hearing you say that makes me excited to watch this fight, which I definitely will be watching. So.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Cool.
I just, and I've never wanted it to define me, right? Mm-hmm. And I never wanted it to be my identity. I want to be a Renaissance woman, right? Like, I want to have my 9-to-5 career.
Right.
Because I went to college for that. I worked really fucking hard. Yep. And I want to be able to be a professional athlete. I want my daughter to know that she can live the American dream. Like, I remember the whole rags to riches thing was kind of like out there, but it was in the past, right? Like, not everyone can do that. I can do that. I did that. Mm-hmm. I did that. Yeah. I am the American dream, and I can proudly say that. And it's really cool. And I want my daughter to, I definitely don't want her to struggle. Like, my parents are immigrants, and, they were both janitors. I was a janitor. And we had hardships growing up. I don't want her to experience that, but I want her to know that everything that she wants is attainable. Mm-hmm. Surrounded by the right people.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're setting a good example.
For sure. Oh yeah.
I'm trying. But yeah, I think it's really cool, and it's not without its hardships.
Sure.
But I have set up myself to be able to punch people for fun.
Well, and that's the thing, and kind of like painting back to what I kind of talked about in the beginning is when people have asked me about you, it is my way of describing you has always been like, she's so nice, like she's super cool, like I feel like I've really gotten closer over the last 4 years. She's super funny. We have such a good time every time we roll. Like, she's super sweet. She's a great coach. Like, she teaches me so much, and be like, that's awesome. And they're like, oh yeah, and fuck, like she fights in the UFC. Like, you know what I mean? It's like when I explain you to people, and I think this is not something unique to me. I think this is anybody that spends a day-to-day like amount of time with you, like anyone from our gym, where you being a UFC fighter is probably like your 7th or 8th coolest thing about you. You know what I mean? And like, that's pretty fucking cool.
I think that's one of the nicest things people have ever said to me. So thank you.
Well, but to what Kevin was saying is like, I think that is the example that you are setting for your daughter, is that you could be a professional athlete and that doesn't have to be the coolest thing about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to the gym really quick, obviously I know Thomas does jiu-jitsu there. Do you do all your training at the gym? Does it provide everything? Because obviously you're not just doing jiu-jitsu in your UFC fight. Are you guys providing other?
So I strength train. That's a huge part of my camp and just a huge part of my personality. I love lifting heavy shit. And we have a secondary business within the building, Lakeside Barbell. Sign up if you want.
Plug away.
But I love barbell training. I love powerlifting. I love the sexy lifts too. I'll do power clean a little here and there. I don't have the shoulder mobility for snatches, but so we actually, my husband and I, when we first met, I had my set of bumper plates. He had his set, and we came together and we just started collecting stuff.
Yeah.
And just started buying stuff.
Yeah. And
so every house that we had, we would just fill it up with gym equipment. And we just kept filling it up. And when we opened up our spot, we always had the plan or the idea of opening up a gym.
Sure.
And then our hand was forced to open up a gym. And I was like, hey, we're ready. Yeah. We have everything. Our house was so empty after we moved all the gym stuff in there. Like, I promise you, I was so sad. Yeah. I was echo. Yeah. But all of the gym equipment that we opened up the first spot with was ours.
Yeah.
Like that was in our house.
Yeah. That's a lot of gym equipment. Yeah. That's a decent amount for sure.
But yeah, I mean, we had it, we were ready to go. And so anyways, to answer your question, yes, I do more. We do everything. We try to be a one-stop shop, but I mean, like I said, I will always outsource when I can't do something. And I actually tell that to all of my athletes. Anytime I coach them, like, I want you to outgrow me. I want you to find someone else. I want you to be better than I will ever be. But for now, I think like I'm there.
Yeah.
And you can get what you need.
Yeah.
But if you think you've outgrown me, I'm not going to hold you back.
Yeah, sure.
Like, why would I do that?
Right.
I would never stunt anyone's shine. Right. And that's why it was important to me to have people represent our team.
Right.
When I sewed your patch on.
Right.
Because I'm not going to stunt anything for anyone.
Well, and that is one of the super cool things, just to plug Outsiders more, because it's my favorite place ever. I spend a lot of time there. It is such a, especially within the jiu-jitsu community, kind of like you were talking about before, you do run into the idolatry figure that like can sway things in a lot of different directions for the positive and the negative. And like, I think when you start to see that, you start to see the I don't care who I offend. Like you start to see the weird, like
culty.
You're not allowed to cross train. You're not allowed to go to another gym. You're not allowed to step foot in here. And that has been such a cool thing for me because, like, as you all know, we have a supplement store and a brand of supplements, and jiu-jitsu in general is one of the absolute most underutilized sports for supplementation I've ever had my eyes on. I see people all the time compete in competitions that like a little carbs and salt would make you feel so much better for your next match.
Absolutely.
And they're just like sitting down doing nothing. And it's like, man, there's so much. And it's been such a blessing for us and for me personally to not just grow within this jiu-jitsu community myself, but allow supplementation and Triad and Define and the things that, you know, we offer as a business to grow within that community as well. And me being able to cross-train and go to different gyms and make relationships of my own at different places has been a massive benefit for the business. And again, for, you know, introducing the supplementation into like a jiu-jitsu community. And so if I wasn't allowed to do that, or if that was super frowned upon, it's like, well, that would hinder a massive part of what I do for work all the time. And that is, I'm at other gyms, I cross-train all the time, and it's very well known to anybody that I cross train with. Like my home's Outsiders, and it's like, you know, and you know, I've had a few places from time to time be like, hey, you want to come? And I'm like, I love you guys, but like, my home's at Outsiders, and it's like, but I can go in there and I can drop in and I can make friends and I can set up and give out samples like I do at Outsiders, and I do all over the place now. But it's like, if we had these weird overruler like rules, you do hinder a lot more than just your jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm. So where we met, our original school, that was a huge issue, cross-training. And I mean, I pay to go there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, at the end of the day, like,
I'm not going to listen to someone. And I held people in high regard, and
sure.
I did listen, but honestly, like, just let people cross train. If you are confident in your product and you're confident in what you provide and the community you've cultivated,
1,000%.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Train elsewhere. If some place is closer to you, let me know. I will help you go there. Like, all I want is for people to train, right? Because that gives me better training partners. My opponent isn't going to be Thomas. My opponent is going to be some bitch somewhere else, right? And I say that lovingly. But like, I don't need to worry about, you know, the gym down the street.
Sure.
Right?
Right. There's plenty of people.
Blows my mind. And people aren't going to be learning any or like trading secrets. Please.
Yeah.
Like it's jujitsu.
Right.
I get so annoyed.
I don't know. I've heard Thomas has made up some of his own moves.
Oh my God. Everybody makes a move and I'm like, just use basics.
Yeah.
But there's this like
I'm
graveyard
sorry.
crotch
The foam
grab.
roller is a devastating move. Okay.
Okay, that is devastating.
It's devastating to their ego as I roll over and use them as a foam roller. I literally like get
So
side
good.
control and I just roll onto my back and start using them as it will pop my back too. It's nice. But again, I think the thing is it's definitely like a swing of the pendulum to the opposite side when it comes to where we were to where we are now, into being a very laid back, a very fun environment where people express themselves, have a good time. I have open conversations with everybody all the time. We're laughing. It's always a good time. And there's no, and not to say that there was a lot, but it's like there's no fear. There's no like, I'm just coming and having fun. And what I think that has done for myself, and I think for a lot of the people that train with us, is that environment for me personally creates the community. And the community, above all else, is the reason why I'm there. You know what I mean? And I say that because the days I don't want to train, I'm tired, or I'm like, yeah, I could, which isn't often because I do love me some jiu-jitsu, but there are days that I'm like, especially like my alarm goes off at 7:00 in the morning and I maybe closed the night before. We had the podcast the night before and I'm done. I don't get home until after 11 and then I'm just settling down. It's 12:30. I'm finally like taking my glasses off and trying to go to bed and it's 12:45 and it's like, and my alarm is going to go off in 6 hours for me to get up at 7 a.m. so I can go to Bill's morning class. And there has been plenty of times that I've wanted to turn that alarm off. And then I'm like, but I want to go see my friends.
Yeah.
I want to go hang out with my friends. Like I can't tell you like how many times like those kind of scenarios over the 4 years have kind of happened where like, man, maybe I'm tired of just getting off work or whatever. And I'm like, if this is just Thomas, you're going to go to name a gym, go to Crunch and go work out or what, no offense to Crunch, but it's like, just go work out. I probably wouldn't have done it.
Right.
But it's like, oh, you mean I get to go hang out with like Zach and Randy and Julia and like all of these people that I love spending time with. And I'm just going to like giggle in the corner and say jokes while we're drilling. Like that is one of the biggest draws of the gym to me.
And as an adult, I don't know about you guys, but I find it very difficult to make friends. I'm a little socially inept. I say F a lot. And I mean, even in my yoga studio, I'm like, hi.
Yeah.
Look, downward dog. So
and doing Full Metal Jacket quotes.
I don't know how to be a people. So
I've chosen to be a panda.
And I can strangle people and that's fine. Like I can communicate that way. And so like building that community and going and seeing people, at the gym, I think is great. And I think people build that community in different pockets, like say at their, their box for
like CrossFit.
CrossFit. Yeah.
Very similar though. Like it is a very similar thing. Yeah. Boot camps for sure. We got one next door.
Yep.
And it's like half of it is being with your friends and your community.
Yeah. And so I think at our gym specifically, we foster doing things outside of just the gym. Like we have birthday parties together, baby showers. We watch fights together. We go to engagement parties. Yeah. And
go to Austin together to watch our coach kick some ass.
It's it's a lot more than just a gym. And there's always that old saying, it's a family. Well, yeah, but you guys pay, so it's it is a business, but it's a community, and we're friends. That's just cool.
I feel like it's almost looked at it. You could almost look at it more of as just like, hey guys, we got to split the rent on this place.
Yeah,
as more than anything.
Yeah,
1,000%.
And I gotta assume
just a bunch of roommates.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of that comes from the just like you're fighting your gym isn't your main source of income. And like you said, you're not paying yourself at all from it. So it's at the end of the day, you're not really trying really hard to take home an extra paycheck and be able to provide for your family more or less. And, the more you're getting from it and more you're getting paid from it, the better you're doing. It's almost like if you're not getting paid for it, it's like, well, we might as well make it as cool as possible. Yeah. So it's like, there's really no any other motivation there. It's just making just a really cool gym, right, and just making sure you're getting paid enough to keep the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Is kind of, I feel, a big reason why it's become the way that I'm hearing that it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You should come by.
I need to. Yeah.
We have a sauna.
Yeah,
as long as he doesn't get to beat me up.
No, let me roll with it. This is my dream. Been waiting 13 years for this, Kevin. But I think that is one of the cool things, the way you describe that, just to toot our own horn here, is like, I feel like that is so much of how Triad is too. Like at the end of the day, so much of Outsiders, in the way that it was founded, in the way that it still holds true today, is it was like, oh, I just want a place where I want to train. Like, I want a place that I want to go train at. You know what I mean? And I think, like, so much of the idea of Triad was, like, I want a store that I would shop at.
Yeah.
I want a place that I would feel comfortable sending somebody to. Like, I want a place that, like, I want to just go hang out at. You know what I mean? Like, right. There have been I can't say a plethora because I haven't really, but like been hurt very often, but it's like, even when I'm like kind of hurt, I still like am like hanging around the gym. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm still just like bebopping around. Like, hey, like what's up, guys? Like it's just because again, it's just as much like social hangout place as it is anything. You know what I mean? Like we got fighting in there, and we got popsicles in the freezer. Like and we got a sauna on the other side. Like what more do you need? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. That's Outsiders.
No, that is very much the mentality here as well. We went a number of years, you included, with working in the store and not getting paid for it. And it's just like, well, if we're not going to get paid, like, as long as we can pay the bills, like, might as well just make this place as cool as possible.
Right.
And if we can just accomplish that, then everything else will come with it. So,
exactly. Yeah. Just make places that people want to be, and I've said this a number of times, but, just so that, to say to you as well. And I feel like this holds true to Outsiders in its own regard. It wouldn't really work, but one of our mantra that we have for the stores written in the back of the handbook is create an environment like so cool and so welcoming that if we didn't have supplements on the walls, customers would come back 2 more times. And the idea is like even if we didn't have anything for sale, people would still want to come here.
So that's cool that you say that and that you have that like mantra. On our rash guards, on our first run of rash guards, we have a quote that it's do not walk behind me, for I may not lead. Do not walk in front of me, for I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I've told to a bunch of my classes in HIT and in, wherever. Anyone that'll listen, really.
Yeah.
Because that's the community that, like, I'm a coach, yeah, but right. I'm not your superior.
Right.
I'm your peer. I'm your
right.
teammate. I'm your friend.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that's it. I feel like if we do jiu-jitsu on the concrete, I'm sure. But it's like if we didn't have mats, like I still think people would still show up. You know what I mean? And I think that is like the cool part about it is that environment has been produced of where it's like, even if for like whatever reason, like and I think it's a perfect example, even when we're doing stuff that isn't jiu-jitsu, people still show up. We're watching fights, we're hanging out, we're having a baby shower, like whatever's happening. Like we still show up because we want to be here. We want to be a part of this, and the community, the community has, provides something that, you don't get in a lot of places anymore.
Yeah. That is a really cool quote, and I think it sometimes takes people a little bit to realize that being a leader, is that's what it looks like a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure everybody's seen that visual of a leader isn't carried by their team, leaders with their team carrying the load. But when you get actually put into the position, it's totally different. But we've had people, and probably most people, when they start to step into leadership roles here, is they've got this idea of now they tell people what to do. And it's like, let's take a second. How many times have I told you what to do? How many times has Thomas told you what to do?
Right.
It's like, we really don't. Like, we really, like, we'll lead by example.
Right. How many times have I asked you, what should we do?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. What do you think? What do you know, it's your call. What do you think we should do here? So.
Right.
Oh.
Getting
baby.
tired?
Oh, yeah.
Sleepy babies. Oh, no. Gosh, she's so cute. She looks so much like you.
Thank you.
I saw you post the side-by-side baby pictures of you and her, and I was like, oh, yeah, you just spawned a new one.
Peace.
Yeah. Well, that's the same with Kevin and Alyssa with Riley. Riley looks just like Alyssa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It is a clone.
I bet she loves that. Oh, yeah. Wait, I got it. Sorry. I got to cut this.
No, you're all good.
Yeah.
You're all good. Just to kind of wrap things up real quick. Again, we've got Julia here. We love her to death. We appreciate you coming on, especially right before this fight. Well, we got crying baby stuff. So we love you. We appreciate everything. Thanks for coming on. Watch December 2nd. Julia Avila is going to be fighting Miesha Tate. It's going to be dope. I'll be there. You see me screaming in the audience. We got the Panda right here. Yeah. Anything you want to say before we hop off of here?
Thank you for believing in me, and I won't let you down.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you to both of you guys for coming tonight and spending time with us and being on the podcast. I know obviously you guys are very busy. Having a child is a full-time job, but just by itself, plus everything else that you do. Thank you so much for spending the time. And I'm happy to have one more friend. I might not have to learn any martial arts myself if I just get enough badass friends myself. So
that's right. We got your posse. We're ready.
Yeah. But thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Well, sweet. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.